Hello, everyone. My name is Shelby Moore, and this is going to be the final video covering Chapter 2 for Macro and Microeconomics. In this video, we're going to talk about trade-offs, goods, growth, and a little bit of a wrap-up of all of the previous videos. First up, we want to talk about the trade-off between the present and the future. So there's not really a set definition of what these time periods are in economics. It really just depends on the circumstances and how easily we can adjust to market changes. But we break it down to short run and long run. The short run is the period in which we make decisions that reflect our immediate or our short-term wants, needs, or limitations. And we can only really partially adjust behavior because this is happening pretty much in real time. Then we have the long run, and this is the period in which we make decisions that reflect our needs, wants, and limitations over a long-term horizon. For the long term, we'll typically have a lot more time to adjust, and this allows consumers to fully adjust to market conditions. So when we're talking about consumers, we also have to identify the types of goods. Consumer goods are goods that are produced for current consumption. So these are things like food, housing, clothing, entertainment. And then we have things that are called capital goods, which are goods that help us produce other valuable goods. So these are things like buildings, factories, roads, machinery, computers, and education. Capital goods are an investment because they basically use resources to create or buy new capital, and we can essentially use these to produce consumer goods later on down the road. Now, in this image, investment in capital goods, instead of producing consumer goods, allows an economy to expand their PPF in the future. So we're looking at the original short-run PPF over on the left-hand side. And then we have kind of that quality or the quantity of capital goods that we're producing in PPF 1 over here, short run, long-term over here. When we invest in these capital goods, we're able to expand that PPF over to PPF 2. So that long run PPF, we're able to adjust to those market conditions. And this is going to lead to economic growth. Because society chose some investment in capital goods, output overall is going to be greater, and it's going to make life a lot easier. Now, the more capital goods that are produced, the more the PPF will expand in the long run. So in this case, at point B, society has chosen to produce many capital goods. The production of these capital goods increases the PPF in the long run by quite a big deal. And because society chose this large investment, output is now a lot greater. So very important to see that if we invest in capital goods a little bit, so I'm going to go back a little bit, that our PPF will move up just a little bit as well in the long run. If we invest in our capital goods a lot, our PPF in the long run will move up quite a bit as well. Now, it might seem like society should devote most of their resources into capital goods, but we do need consumer goods for everyday life. And if it's hard enough to save for a weekend, imagine making the entire country save, right? It's not easy, even though it is in our best interest, but it is something that we have to weigh our options. Here is a practice what you know, and the question asks, what is the opportunity cost of producing capital goods instead of consumer goods? The choices are we give up consumption today, we give up consumption tomorrow, we have less employment today, or we have a lower standard of living tomorrow. The correct answer is that we're just giving up consumption today because we're focusing on producing those capital goods rather than on those consumer goods. Now, investment in human capital is just kind of something interesting that I like to touch on. Whenever we talk about investment, it doesn't necessarily have to be towards capital goods. We can invest in human capital in things like going to college, training people on new skills. And what this is going to do is it's going to make our people more skilled in the long run. Whenever we think about going to college, we can view that as an investment in human capital. It's expensive, the direct expenses of paying for classes, books, the time, all of these things. The opportunity cost of time, the 2 to 4 years, it's very time consuming. But in the long run, you may end up having more skills. And because of those skills, you may have a better job. You might be a more productive worker. And overall, it just might make your life a little bit easier. To kind of wrap up everything that we talked about in the chapter 2 videos, keep in mind that economists are going to use simplified models to understand how the economy works. The production possibilities frontier, or the PPF, is very important, and it illustrates the benefits of trade and allows us to describe ways to grow the economy. And that when producers specialize, we're focusing our efforts on a good or service that we have the lowest opportunity cost. And then we're trading with others that are good at making something else. And in the end, it makes things better for all of us. That is going to wrap up chapter 2. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you're feeling good about it, go ahead and head over to the next one. Thank you.